we have got to talk about that hidden force that causes these emotional explosions in our homes. You know the moment. You find yourself screaming about a misplaced coffee cup, or you feel this wave of just insane rage when your partner asks a simple question like, "Hey, what's for dinner?" Now, we've all been told it's about patience or communication or just trying harder. But what if it's none of those things? What if it's a mechanical problem with a biological root? Today, we're going to install a new piece of hardware for your mind. It's called the grounding engine, and it's a system for mastering those invisible currents of stress before they completely short-circuit your most important relationships. This quote right here, this is the key that unlocks the whole puzzle. It's the paradox that governs so much of our conflict at home. You're standing there in your kitchen, furious about the mess, and you are absolutely convinced your family is the source of all your frustration. But the truth is, the anger isn't even from inside the house. You brought it home with you. It's a ghost from the battlefield of your workday, and it's haunting the one place you're supposed to feel safe. You're not mad about the dishwasher. You are offloading the pressure of a deadline, a difficult client, or a boss who just undermined you. And in doing that, you're basically burning down your own sanctuary with fuel from a war that ended hours ago. I want you to picture this. All day long, you are just absorbing stress. Every frustrating email, every tense negotiation, every single moment you have to bite your tongue, it's like you're building up this massive electrical charge inside your nervous system, a 10,000-volt stress charge. See, we've been sold this lie called professionalism, this idea that if you suppress stress, you're handling it, that if you can just keep a straight face, the problem somehow vanishes. But here's the biological truth. Stress isn't something you can just delete. It operates like a hydraulic system. You push it down in one place, and it will erupt with even greater force in another. You aren't containing it, you're just pressurizing it. Now, what does any massive electrical charge need to do? It needs to find a ground. It has to discharge. This isn't a suggestion, it is a law of physics. Your brain doesn't have a delete button for all the adrenaline and cortisol flooding your system. It only has a delay button. So that 10,000-volt charge you built up by handling it at the office is now actively, desperately seeking a path of least resistance. It's scanning your environment, looking for the quickest, easiest, and most importantly, the safest place to let go of all that pent-up energy. The current has to flow somewhere. The only question is, where? And this is where the tragedy unfolds. The path of least resistance, it's not the person who actually caused the stress. No, the path of least resistance is the person who feels the safest, your partner. Your kids, the people who you know on some deep subconscious level won't fire you or leave you for an emotional outburst. They become the unintentional grounding rod for your professional stress. They become innocent hostages in a battle they didn't even know you were fighting. That explosion that happens, it's not a reflection of your relationship. It's the inevitable discharge of that unprocessed, high-voltage energy you carried right through your front door.
And look, this isn't just a metaphor. There's a precise scientific term for it: excitation transfer. It's the process where all that physiological arousal, the adrenaline, the cortisol, a rapid heart rate, from one event spills over and gets misattributed to a second, totally unrelated event. The anger you felt when your project got criticized at 3 p.m. is still physically present in your bloodstream at 7 p.m. So when your child drops a spoon, your brain doesn't just react to the spoon. It adds the leftover arousal from 4 hours ago to the tiny annoyance of the spoon, and the reaction is magnified 100-fold. You're not reacting to the present moment. You're reacting to the ghost of the past. So this leads to a core system malfunction that I call the displacement glitch. This is where your greatest professional asset, your discipline, your ability to stay calm under pressure, becomes your greatest personal liability. The very skill that gets you promoted at work is the one that's poisoning your life at home. Let's look at the biology behind it. Your brain, first and foremost, is a survival machine. It's constantly running these subconscious risk assessments. Just look at this comparison. On one side, you've got the high-cost target, your boss, a major client. Expressing your raw frustration here? Well, that threatens your survival, your income, your status. So suppression is the logical, necessary survival move. But on the other side, you've got the low-cost target, your spouse, your family. Your brain sees them as safe. It calculates incorrectly that releasing the pressure here won't have catastrophic consequences. It's not a conscious choice. It's not malicious. It's a primitive glitch in our wiring. Your brain protects you from the high-cost target by redirecting the blast towards the low-cost one. And this chart illustrates exactly why that glitch happens. Think of your prefrontal cortex, the PFC, as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of emotional regulation, impulse control, rational thought, all the hard stuff. But it runs on a finite energy source, glucose. It's like a battery. So look at the chart.
At 9 a.m., your gating power, your ability to manage impulses, is at 100%. The CEO is in the office, fully caffeinated, ready to go. But every suppressed email, every tense meeting, every time you force a smile, you're burning through that battery. And by 5 p.m., as you can see, the tank is empty. The CEO has left the building, and the security guard, your primitive, reactive amygdala, is now in charge of the whole operation. So, you walk in the door with a depleted battery and a fully activated stress response. Your regulatory capacity is totally offline. And then you hear it. That simple, innocent question, "What's for dinner?" And it lands like a physical blow. It feels like an accusation, a demand, a profound criticism of your entire being. Why? Why does this neutral question trigger such a massive, aggressive response? The answer is stark, and it's biological. It's because your brain is still simulating a war. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a threat to your social standing at work and a physical threat on the savannah. The physiological response is identical. So when you get home, your body is still primed for combat. It's flooded with stress hormones, your muscles are tense, your brain is in a state of high alert, scanning for threats. And in that context, what's for dinner isn't a question. It's one more enemy combatant, one more demand on your already gone resources. You're not lacking love, you're lacking a grounding wire in a war zone you didn't even know you were in. So that's the problem. It's systemic, it's biological, and that means the solution cannot be to just try harder. Willpower is the wrong tool for this job. You need an engineering solution. And that is the grounding engine protocol, a 3-part system designed not to suppress the charge, but to safely discharge it before you ever get home. This isn't about becoming more patient. It's about making peace the path of least resistance. Okay, the protocol has 3 distinct layers that act like a relational shield. First up, the airlock interval, where you literally decontaminate from the battlefield. Second, source trace auditing, where you find the real origin of the emotional heat. And third, somatic discharge, where you physically close the loop on the stress response. Together, these 3 layers guarantee that the stress from your day doesn't become the poison in your home. Layer 1, the airlock interval. You have to stop thinking of the drive home as a transition. You have to start treating it as decontamination. Imagine an astronaut returning from a spacewalk. They don't just pop open the hatch and walk into the main cabin. They go through an airlock to equalize the pressure. This is the exact same principle. A mandatory 15-minute buffer between the battlefield of work and the sanctuary of home. No podcasts, no phone calls, no news, just silence. This isn't passive time. You are actively giving the adrenaline in your system time to metabolize. You're letting your nervous system power down from a reactive state to a neutral one. Layer 2 is the source trace audit. This is a cognitive move. Once you're in the quiet of the airlock, you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" or "Why are they so annoying?" and you start asking the real question. Where did this heat actually start? You become a detective. You trace the current of your irritability back to its specific source. The heat is from that 2 p.m. meeting. The tension is from that unanswered email. You explicitly name the origin. This is absolutely crucial. It shifts the whole narrative in your brain from "my family is the problem" to "that project is the problem." You are correctly reattributing the emotion and taking back control. Layer 3, and this one is completely non-negotiable: somatic discharge. Stress begins in the body as a preparation for physical action, fight or flight. Therefore, the loop must be closed by the body. You cannot think your way out of it. It's impossible. You have to move. This means using brief, intense physical movement to metabolize and burn off those stress chemicals before they can corrupt your interactions. This is not a full workout. It's a precision discharge. It's the difference between letting a pressure cooker explode in your kitchen versus just manually, safely lifting the valve outside. It's the signal that finally tells your body the war is over. So why is this system so effective? Well, it's not magic. It's neuroscience. The protocol works because it targets the specific brain mechanisms behind that displacement glitch. Let's look under the hood for a second. We're dealing with 2 main brain systems here. On one side, you have the amygdala. Think of this as your alarm system. It's that ancient, reactive part of your brain that's responsible for fight or flight. It's fast, it's powerful, it's emotional. On the other side, you have the Ventro-Lateral Prefrontal Cortex, or VLPFC. This is the brake. It's the more evolved part of your brain that labels emotions and regulates impulses. The entire problem of relational volatility is that your amygdala is screaming its head off, and your VLPFC has run out of the energy it needs to apply the brake. The grounding engine is just a manual override to re-engage that brake system. And check this out. This chart shows exactly how it works through a process called affect labeling, which is what you're doing in the source trace audit. When your brain perceives some unnamed emotional threat, like the anger from that meeting, your amygdala activity skyrockets. That's the bar on the left. But the moment you simply name the emotion, the moment you say that is anger from my boss, VLPFC activity increases and amygdala activity plummets. That's the bar on the right. Just naming the source of your stress, hands control back from the reactive alarm to the regulatory brake. You are neurologically calming the storm just by labeling it correctly. It's incredible. Okay, let's make this super practical. We're moving from theory to a concrete, tactical routine you can execute on your very next commute home. This is what I call the doorstep reset. It's how you integrate the entire protocol into a simple, powerful sequence. Here it is, 3 steps right before you walk through that door. 1. Airlock. Sit in your driveway or your garage for 10 minutes. Total silence. No input. Let the system settle. 2. Audit. Name your top 3 stressors from the day out loud. I am carrying heat from the budget meeting, the IT failure, and that email from Susan. Saying it out loud actually engages more of the brain and makes the labeling process way more powerful. And 3. Discharge. Before you walk inside, do 1 minute of intense physical movement. Sprint in place. Do fast push-ups against your car. Shadow box. Velocity is more important than volume. The goal is to arrive at the dinner table with a clean circuit. This approach is fundamentally different from that old advice we all got. We were told to count to 10 or take a deep breath. Look, those are suppression strategies. They ask your depleted prefrontal cortex to try and wrestle your hyperactive amygdala into submission. It's a losing battle. The doorstep reset is a completion strategy. It recognizes that stress creates a biological cycle that needs to be finished. Discharging the body through movement is how you complete that cycle. It is exponentially more effective because it works with your biology, not against it. And this is the most important reframe of all. If you take one thing away from this explainer, please let it be this. Your irritability, your short fuse, your relational volatility, it is not a character flaw. You are not a bad person, a bad partner, or a bad parent. You have a hardware problem. Your nervous system is overloaded, and your regulatory capacity is depleted. The solution isn't more shame or more self-criticism. The solution is installing a better operating system. Ultimately, it just comes down to this single, undeniable truth. The stress you accumulate throughout the day is an electrical current. It must and it will find a ground. You don't have a choice about whether it discharges. Your only choice is where. You can let it discharge chaotically onto the people you love most, or you can build a dedicated, intentional grounding wire and direct that current safely into the earth. Find a ground, or you will find a victim. So here's your challenge, not for next week, not for tomorrow, but for today, right now. I want you to perform a grounding audit. What heat are you carrying at this very moment? Just pause this explainer and identify it. What's the true source trace? Name it out loud. And then find a way to discharge your body for 60 seconds. Don't wait until you get home. Do it now. Clear the noise. Experience what it feels like to operate from a clean circuit. This is the entire art of the grounded life, distilled into one simple mantra. Ground the source so you can save the home. You take responsibility for the energy you carry so you can protect the sanctuary where you're supposed to recharge. You master this, and your relationships become an unstoppable, high-resolution force. Ground the source, save the home.